Welcome to the Unapologetic Vixen podcast, Owning Pleasure as a Black Woman. I'm Natasha, a licensed sex therapist and certified sex and intimacy coach, on a mission to empower Black women to choose a life of pleasure, not just today, but every day. There is nothing more powerful than a Black woman that authentically owns her pleasure and sensuality. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the gems. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Unapologetic Vixen podcast, Owning Pleasure as a Black Woman. Thank you so much for returning, and if you are brand new, hey, I hope you get some much needed gems from this episode. So today, we're going to talk about feelings. Yes, feelings. Those things that we try to deny we have, right? So here's my question to you. How many times a day do you say, "Oh, I'm fine," and not mean that shit? Like, can you count on one hand or two hands how many times you do that? "Oh, I'm fine. I'm doing great. Yes, I'm fine." When we know that that is a load of bullshit. Majority of the time, we're probably not fine. Whether it's because of what's going on in the current moment, whether it's about something that happened earlier that day, the anxiety of something that we think is going to happen or something we're stressing about. 9 times out of 10, when someone's asking us how we're doing, we're not fine. And I would like us to stop lying. Not just lying to other people, but lying to ourselves. Because I know there are some of you out there that really think you're fine, really think that you're okay. And why is this? Why do you feel like you're fine? Why do you feel like you're okay? Well, there's a long history of no one really giving a fuck about the Black woman's feelings. Can I be honest? Can I be honest? I'm going to be honest. There has been lots of examples of people not really caring about our feelings, starting from when we're children, right? We see, for me, when I think about my mom, I don't really remember seeing any distinct feelings. I know when not bad, I don't want to say bad, but like traumatic things happen when people pass away and things of that nature. I remember seeing her cry. Of course, she would get upset with me when I didn't do something, but I can't sit here and say that I remember, and it could be my horrible memory, see her going through a range of feelings. What I saw my mom do was get up every day and tend to us. We were a military family. She tended to us. She did what she needed to do for us. She showed up to everything. And that's what I remember. I don't remember feelings. The only feelings I remember growing up is mad, sad, happy, angry. And as I got older, the message just was, you bypass them, right? Just bypass them. And I'm pausing and having like gaps because I really can't remember. Like I can't remember why I became a woman that decided no, we're not doing that. Like we're not going to do that. We don't have time for that. We don't have time for feelings. I have heard myself say that to people, and I have heard some of my friends in the past say that. We don't have time for feelings. Like, it's time, we got to get up. We got to do what we got to do. And we learned that from way, way back, right? Remember, we come from a lineage of very strong women who had no choice but to bypass their feelings in order to survive. No one cared that they were getting their children ripped away from them. Nobody cared that you were sad. Nobody cares about your feelings. We're going to do what we want to do. No one cared that they were being taken advantage of in every way possible. No one cares about your feelings. Suck it up. And so for our ancestors, for our lineage, it was a place of survival. I don't have time to feel my feelings because I have to survive, and the family that I do have with me, or those that I've taken on as my family, I got to make sure that we're good. I have to make sure that we survive. We have what we need to eat. We have water. We have clothes. I have to make sure that I'm taking care of the masses people too, because if not, like I could get whipped. They could, like there was so many ways to no longer exist in this world. We didn't have time to feel. That doesn't just disappear because it goes from one woman to the next. You think about like your great grandmother probably wasn't that far removed if she was part of slavery. And then you think about your grandmother is learning about survival from her. And she may not be in the best of situations because it's not much that has been passed down to us. What she learned was how to be strong. We don't have time for feelings, which then translates into our mothers, which then translates to us. Now, it is so important to feel our feelings. I have so many clients right now who are going through the process of unlearning not feeling the feelings because they can't get to where they're trying to go. They can't meet certain goals. They can't create certain relationships. They can't show up for certain people that are important in their lives because they struggle with understanding their feelings, coping with their feelings, and being able to articulate what it is that they're feeling so that they can get the support that they need. So insert me walking them through it and talking them through it and giving them, like the last episode, we talked about a safe space to just try it out, to see how it feels, to move through the shame and the guilt and the embarrassment of feeling weak. That's what it comes down to, is feeling weak for having these feelings. It all goes back to that strong Black woman syndrome, right? Despite what's going on in your life, you show up and you smile. You put that mask on, you smile, and you get things done, and you show up for people, and you go to sleep, and you get up every day, and you do it again. But let me tell you, it is killing you. It is killing you. It is killing us because I am still a work in progress. You hear me? Holding on to your feelings, not being honest about them, not feeling them, they show up somehow, right? They're going to show up. That may look like having outbursts at work. That nice little curse out that you did last week to your coworker. Going in really hard on your partner or your kids over something that's small. Yes, I understand it's the accumulation of things. But these are things that you've just let build and build and build. And I'm fine. It's okay. No, I'm fine. It's okay. Until you get poked and the bear comes out. Because we've dismissed feeling pissed off and upset and hurt, embarrassed from all the things that have gone on in our lives. Because, again, it doesn't matter. There's other shit that needs to be done. Hey sis, if you are a high achieving, influential Black woman ready to lean into your peace and happiness so that you can live a satisfying life away from your to-do list, head over to closetfreakchronicles.com/pleasure and let's help you find the peace that you need in order to have the most satisfying life yet. Now back to the show. But it's killing you. It's raising your stress levels, heart disease, cancer, blood pressure. We're taking to soothing ourselves through food, unhealthy foods, shopping, which is putting us in financial stress because we're out here buying things that we don't really need. It just feels really, really good to go out and shop. It feels really good. I say this as someone that is part of the retail therapy team. But at the end of the day, when you look at all the things that you bought, all the food that you ate, it just becomes, or all the sex that you've had, because sometimes it feels really good to just go out here and have sex to drown out any feelings that may be trying to come up. Drinking, doing drugs, we kind of go down more detrimental, they're all detrimental, but like the more seriously detrimental avenues just to, to mask, just to mask. You would not believe how light and how good it feels to be honest with someone about your feelings. I have a client that I talked to yesterday, and she was talking about how she doesn't share what's going on with her, and she doesn't want anyone to be a part of it because of how they see her. She said, they see me as perfect. My family, some of my friends, they see me as perfect. I do not want to tarnish that view that they have of me by telling them what I'm feeling, by telling them what's really going on, that I don't really have myself together the way that they think that I do. So I would rather just keep pretending and try to figure it out on my own. Imagine the weight that is going to be lifted from you, from her, when she just decides, I'm not holding my tongue anymore. I'm not wearing this mask anymore. I'm going to be honest about what I'm feeling. Yes, you pissed me off yesterday. Yes, you hurt my feelings. Yes, I need you to show up. I am stressed out. I need you to show up more. I need you to do more. And the problem is some of these people that are in our lives, when we actually start leaning on them and being honest about what it is that we're feeling, they are going to take offense to it and they're going to start to back off. And that's what we don't want. We don't want people to back off from us because they're family, they're friends, they're part of my support circle. But if they can't hold that safe space for you and show up for you when you need them to, that's something that we really need to sit and digest. Why do we want people in our lives that we don't feel safe enough, we don't feel vulnerable enough to be honest about our feelings? Why don't we trust ourselves enough to be honest with ourselves about what we're feeling? Why don't we want to be honest about how detrimental it is to just our mental, emotional, and physical health about not acknowledging our feelings? Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Yes, I have another client who is going through the ringer right now. A situation happened in her life, and she has been dealing with the roller coaster of feelings for probably the last 2 months. And every time I see her, that's what she's telling me. It's a roller coaster. Today I'm fine, but, I don't know how I'm going to be in the next hour. I don't know how I'm going to feel tomorrow. And I just want this to be over because it's too much. It's too heavy. I don't want to do this. It's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. But when you make the decision to sit with those feelings and not run from them, you get that much more closer to you. You reconnect that relationship that you have to yourself, which then allows you to show up more authentic, more you in this world, which allows you to have more pleasure. There is so much pleasure. Pleasure in itself is the feeling of happiness, satisfaction, and enjoyment. Pleasure is a feeling. You can't own pleasure if you don't allow yourself to feel. You can't get to a life of pleasure if you don't know what it feels like, if you don't know what joy and happiness and peace and contentment feels like. Because in order to feel those things, you also have to go through feeling the negative feelings. It's not one-sided. You can't feel one without feeling the other. Your feelings are arrows. They are pointing you in the right direction. We can overthink it, overtalk it, research it. We can do whatever we want. Those feelings are what's going to point us in the right direction. Those feelings are what's going to tell us about that person that we just met. Our feelings is what's going to tell us about that relationship. Our feelings is going to tell us how we should show up for ourselves. And if we still want to be doing the things that we're doing, if we still want to be making certain decisions for ourselves. Sometimes we just cannot We cannot think ourselves into better situations. We have to feel into it. But we've willingly disconnected our mind from our bodies, and we think that our brains is what is going to guide us. Let me tell y'all something. The brain will lie. The brain lies. The brain fills in blanks. It just fills in blanks where it can. And it fills in the blanks based off the things that we've been exposed to, the external, what our parents have told us, what our friends have said, the movies we've watched, the podcast. That's why sometimes I'm like, we just got to take a break from receiving so much information, because it keeps us from really sitting with ourselves and feeling what we need to feel to start trusting ourselves to make the best decision for us so that we can start living an amazing ass life while we're here. Lean into it and be curious about it. Why do I feel this way? Because 9 times out of 10, the first reason isn't usually it's not the root of why you feel that way. Just keep asking. Don't get upset with yourself for feeling a some type of way. Don't be like me. And well, I've gotten better, but I used to be so pissed off when I cried. Like, I used to get so angry, I would cry. And then I would be angry at the fact that I was so angry, or I allowed someone to get me so angry that I was crying. For me, crying was a sign of weakness. Anytime something bad happened, I remember when my grandmother passed away. Do y'all know the next day, and I was really close to my grandmother, very, very close to my grandmother. The next day, I tried to go to work. I felt the feeling, right? And then I did something equivalent to just like swallowing it. And I got up. I felt very zombie-like, but I went to work. And I had a moment. Like, I was literally dragging, and I remember being in the back. I was working at a grocery store, and I went in the back to do something or get something, and I literally just dropped, and I was crying. And it was not anything that I couldn't control it. And they let me go home. And do you know, I had the audacity to call and apologize for leaving early, for having the breakdown. And the manager was like, didn't your grandmother die? You don't have to call up here and apologize. But that was me. I'm fine. Suck it up. There's things that have to be done. And I think, and that's been years. It's been quite a few years, almost like 15, about 15 years ago. Yeah, about 15 years ago. And I think like a faucet, I open it to allow myself to feel that. I don't think I have 100%. I could be transparent with y'all. I haven't been 100% with allowing myself to feel that loss. I do it in drip fashion, a little bit at a time. But yeah, I was so determined to be fine and be okay. And I watch that in my clients. They're so determined to be okay and to be fine and to get up and shake that shit off. And there are some things you can't shake off. There are some things that you really have to sit down with, process, get the necessary support, ask the necessary questions, and allow time to do what it does. But sis, in 2023, we gonna feel these feels. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap that up. And I want you to think, the next time someone asks you, how are you doing? Let's give an honest answer. Now, you don't have to go all the way in and pour out on them, but let's give an honest answer. I'm having a hard day, but thank you for asking. I'm hoping it gets better. I'm not feeling that great today. Let's be honest. Okay? Now, if you enjoyed this episode, you enjoyed the gems, the questions, if you enjoyed the conversation, definitely let's keep it going. I am here to support you. I am a safe space for you to really dive deeper into what pleasure could look like for you. So head over to www.closetfreakchronicles.com/pleasure. And let's keep this going. Let's help you get elevated. Let's help you navigate your life while also incorporating this pleasure, this satisfaction, and this newfound intimacy that you are building with yourself. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you later. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Unapologetic Vixen podcast, Owning Pleasure as a Black Woman. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a comment, and share with someone you know could use the space. If you're ready to tap into your pleasure, join the Virtual Vixen Suite. It's a safe space for Black women to gain support and empowerment as they access pleasure, intimacy, and satisfying sex every day. And remember, pleasure is your right, boo.